What's up, Garu Gang? It's Dave, and I'm back with some more reviews. Today I'll be talking about The Killer and Poor Things, both movies that came out in 2023, and I saw them in the past month or so, and I've been meaning to talk about it. So first, The Killer. This is a movie on Netflix directed by David Fincher, who is well known for like Fight Club and The Game, and he directed Gone Girl. This movie is starring Michael Fassbender, who plays the titular killer. It's based on a graphic novel series that I've never read. And the thing that makes this movie unique, it's your sort of typical hitman story, except the hitman is an emotionless killer, and he's very pragmatic, and empathy is for the weak is something that he repeats often in his inner monologue throughout the movie. And any other director or writer might have approached this in a different way, but pretty much he's the only character. You follow him through the whole movie, and any other character in the movie is not given much screen time before they're killed or other things happen to them. So Michael Fassbender, he's an extremely good actor. He brings a certain gravitas to every role that he plays. Magneto, you might know him as, and he is the main character in this movie, and he basically just goes on his journey of killing dudes, and his whole impetus for killing people is we watch him botch a job early in the movie, and then his employer goes after him, and they find his girlfriend and beat her up pretty badly. And in any other movie, you would see the girlfriend character get treated in a certain light, like she's the heart of the movie. We're supposed to feel for her. This movie kind of uses her up within 2 minutes and spits her out, and she's gone from the movie. And that's what makes it unique and interesting to me. Just that approach of making like an icy, cold-blooded movie about this guy who is basically a sociopath, and he's a high-paid contract killer, and that's just the mindset he has. He doesn't have time for feelings, and it's surprising to me, even as a girlfriend. But for whatever reason, he finds it. You don't really see him react with much emotion to her getting beat up. He's just like, all right, I gotta go fuck these guys up. It's almost as like he's a machine, and he only has one resolution for this problem. So we see him go on that journey of just fucking people up, sort of traveling around the world to get revenge. That's almost to the movie's detriment, because there's not much emotion. We're not really rooting for this guy. Like he's not a good guy, so to speak. But he is an interesting character, and we're interested to see how he goes about his business. So that's the main motivator for the audience. It was a thorough, high up 3 out of 5 for me. I liked it. I didn't get much feeling from it, but I thought it was a unique movie. David Fincher's approach to filmmaking, the cinematography is very clean. It's got this sort of cold neo-noir vibe, and I quite like that about it. It's very atmospheric, and the choices made, and the soundtrack made by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who did the soundtrack for Gone Girl as well, I believe. The soundscape of the movie is very clean and clinical, just like the cinematography and directing, and the character clean. The hitman character is clean and clinical the way he goes about things, or tries to. So I would recommend it if you have Netflix. Check it out. I feel like it's a movie that could potentially elevate itself on future viewings to maybe like a 4 out of 5 great type movie. It's maybe it's not always about the emotion when you're watching movies. sometimes it's about just getting into a different world, different character's head than your own, because we're not, I would guess most viewers of this movie are not contract killers, so it's like a fantasy that we can play out with this character. And Michael Fassbender is very good. He's very good in it. Even though he's not really an emotional character, he still brings a certain energy to the role that I enjoyed. So check it out. Michael Fassbender, please be in more movies because I love you. I love you. Check it out. The next movie I'm talking about is Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Definitely the name of my next D&D character. Starring Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, and Mark Ruffalo. This movie was great. It was very good. I think it's still in theaters. I think you should check it out. It's just a fantastic, interesting, different movie. It's got a certain artsy aspect to the cinematography, and soundtrack and visuals, while still being an entertaining and not up its own ass type movie. It's very good. And I'll definitely be checking out other Yorgos Lanthimos movies. How can you forget that name, right? So Emma Stone plays Frankenstein's monster in this movie, basically, and Willem Dafoe is Frankenstein. But this is a very different take on the whole Frankenstein story, because the monster actually gets to mature and grow beyond sort of infantile brain. And if there's one thing I can say about this movie, Emma Stone absolutely knocked it out of the park. She's very good, incredible in this movie. She goes from like acting like a toddler and spitting out food on screen. She goes from that to basically like a sophisticated young woman before her eyes. And it's very interesting the angle they took on this. It's kind of like a feminist view of the Frankenstein story, because she is this woman character in a world around the turn of the century where women weren't treated so well. And she has a very different point of view. Part of that is from Willem Dafoe's character, who is like this, he's sort of this very scientific character. Like that's his whole point of view on the world, is everything is an experiment. And we find out why he views the world that way somewhat. And she takes that approach to her eventual adventure that she goes on. Just very scientific method type approach to coming of age story. So we see her as a toddler, and then she like has this sexual awakening, which this movie is very graphic sexually. And Emma Stone, like, I don't know what her motivation was, but she was naked in a lot of this movie, and there was more sex scenes than I could count. It's very sexually gratuitous movie, I would say. And if that turns you off, like, that's fair. For me, it was a little bit awkward to see a bunch of naked bodies on a movie screen, with other people in the theater. I couldn't start rubbing my dick or anything. It was awkward, It was really awkward. Anyway, it's very much about her like having this sexual awakening and like kind of being taken advantage by dudes, and then like coming into her own as like a strong female character. And like she goes literally from like an infant, talking like an infant, to talking like a grown woman with a very intelligent mind. So that's a very interesting angle that they took in displaying this character, and Emma Stone absolutely kills it. She's so good. It's very believable almost, in spite of like the movie having this sort of fairy tale tone, and like there's a lot of painted sky backgrounds, and visually it's very kind of reminded me of like how Wes Anderson gives like a fantastical element to normal everyday life, magical realism vibe to it. And you really get her whole journey as she grows into a young woman. It's funny as hell. Like the script is sharp. There's some moments I was like laughing really hard at how absurd some of the things that people say in this movie are, and it has a lot of heart to it. There's moments where you feel for all the characters involved in different ways. Maybe not like your typical Steven Spielberg schmaltzy type stuff, more like a Wes Anderson movie, how the characters are sort of weird and almost off-putting. And there's a lot of awful people in this movie, and even Emma Stone's character does like awful things, but it's in the name of like developing as a character. And it's good. It's very good. And there's not much more I can say to recommend it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because it just didn't. There was maybe the ending didn't really 100% work with me, and there's a little bit. It's maybe a little bit heavy-handed with political messaging, just slightly, very slightly. It's not too bad, because that stuff kind of gets on my nerves sometimes. Like, I don't need you to beat me over the head with shit. But this movie was pretty nuanced in its approach, and great characters, great acting. Mark Ruffalo, his performance in it is also really good. He's like a foppish buffoon, and he says some outrageous shit, and he's good. So check it out. Go to the theaters, run to the theaters, check it out. I think it is a 4 out of 5 for me. Didn't have the meteoric impact that other things I'll be reviewing soon have had, but it did register as a great movie instantly with me. I think my girlfriend Karen liked it a lot, and I was hoping to actually have her on this review, but it hasn't really worked out scheduling wise. So yeah, run to the theaters and check it out. I think it's probably only in a couple theaters now, or when it hits streaming. Take a look. It's different. It's fun. It's fresh. It's exciting. It's got titties. A lot of titties. Anyway, those are my 2 reviews for this week. The Killer and Poor Things. The Killer, 3 out of 5. And Poor Things, 4 out of 5. Both of these movies I feel like could grow on me quite a bit. The Killer, I don't know how much I'll be running to rewatch, but I think if I view it again in like 5 years, I could be like, man, this movie is cool. Thanks for watching. I'll be back at it next week with something else. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully I can beat Lies of P before Tekken 8 comes out, because that shit is coming up on us fast, and I want to play a lot of Tekken 8. Lies of P, I've been just like biting chunks off of it and enjoying every bite. I've been enjoying it so much, and I can't wait to talk about it. But I haven't finished it yet. So check me out next time. Thanks for watching YouTube, and I'll see you later, or I'll see you on another time.